What's going on, everybody? Don't worry. I did not forget about you. Just moving locations, how to get it set up. And this is the first time I've done this angle. So you have a look at the 75-inch TV right behind me. Not on right now, but in all its glory, it's there. And maybe I'll be watching some tape on that a little bit later. Jersey made it, changed locations. We got the depth of field. We're ready to go. We're ready to talk 49ers Vikings joint practices. And I want to talk about the 49ers offensive line. I put D-line there because I was in such a hurry. Somebody in Hawaii said that they're waiting on the guy with the beer. And since he was waiting on the guy with the beer, I decided to start this show without checking to make sure that I put O-line instead of D-line. So I am fixing that issue right now. There we go. Let's talk about the 49ers O-line because I have a feeling that it has the potential to trip this team up, especially the pass protection. Matt Barrows today with his report from 49ers Vikings in Minnesota. This is what it looks like up on The Athletic. I'm copying and pasting it into the chat section for all of you. 49ers Trey Lance, Deebo Samuel heat up versus the Vikings, including a big fourth down play. Now, I did a show earlier this morning, obviously, during the end of practice, and talked about the fact that Trey Lance was 11 of 18, including a spike. Not terrible, right? Pretty good, I should say, for a joint practice here, 3/4 of the way through training camp. And the 49ers picked up another interception. They have 18 now throughout camp after only racking up 11 last season. George Odom had the pick today. And remember, during the joint practices last year, the 49ers against Justin Herbert of the Chargers didn't pick up a single interception. So they got one today. And Danny Gray is a star. And for more on that, Steph Sanchez had some excellent video, and we could play it right here. Maybe I make this full screen so we could see Danny Gray at work. You could also see, oops, that did not work. I'll just make myself big here for a second, and we'll go back to that and figure that out. I just totally lost the video on that one. So let me remove and re-add this to the stream. Anyway, that was from Steph Sanchez. Had a great video on Danny Gray just bolting out of nowhere, beating Patrick Peterson. Trey Lance, maybe a slight underthrow. Who cares, though? Lofted that ball out there. Danny Gray was so far ahead of Patrick Peterson in the 7-on-7 drill that he sprinted all the way to the end zone. So those were good moments for the 49ers today. I'll find a way to boot up that video in a second. I have to get the screen back up here so we can talk about the 49ers O-line, because while you did have these highlights for the 49ers, the 18 interceptions, Danny Gray, and the 18th interception, they didn't have 18 against Kirk Cousins, the 18th against Kirk Cousins today, Trey Lance, and obviously the star power delivering. In Matt's article, he talked about Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle making a catch. Despite the fact that you have all this good stuff, you still had a big concern today. And what jumped out at me, not to pour water on anything for the 49ers, but this is something they need to address. They gave up 4 sacks today. I guess 4 would-be sacks, since you can't bring the quarterback to the ground in these practices. But that's an issue. And the reason it's an issue, even after just this one practice against the Vikings, is because it's been an issue for the 49ers for the past several seasons. They've been a run-blocking offensive line that hasn't been quite as good as at pass protection, and it sunk them in the past. And the whole idea this year was, okay, well, Trey Lance is going to take over at quarterback. He's going to be mobile. He's going to be able to move a little bit. Maybe his escape rate is going to be a little bit higher than Jimmy Garoppolo's, although his release won't be as quick. So who knows if those two cancel each other out. But really, the gist of everything regarding this switch to Trey Lance was the team around him will be good enough to make this work in his first year. So even if the escape rate is a little bit better, even if he does quicken up the release to make himself more effective against pressure than Jimmy Garoppolo was, the 49ers are still going to need a competent offensive line to get to where they want to go. This is completely non-negotiable. And when you look to see how practice went today with 4 sacks, I know that you got Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith on the other side, Harrison Smith, the safety from Minnesota. There's some star power on that defense for sure. But there's some star power across the whole NFL. There's star power standing in the 49ers' way of an NFC West crown and an NFC crown and ultimately a Super Bowl crown, right? Aaron Donald being the most prominent name, but you're going to have to block people. You're going to have to protect Trey Lance to get to where you want to go. And the 49ers didn't have a game's worth of snaps today for Trey Lance against the Minnesota Vikings. He had 18 pass attempts, right? That's not an entire game's worth. And he still got sacked 4 times. 4 sacks on 18 pass attempts, that's not a good ratio. And that underscores the biggest issue that I've outlined with this 49ers team for months and even years. And this is something that's going to have to be repaired quickly before the start of this season. Now, am I saying they can't repair it? No, I'm not. But I'm here to chart what they have to do here, not only over the next couple of weeks before the start of the regular season, but also over the course of the 17 weeks of the regular season, because it's a marathon, not a sprint, and they want to get going throughout. So I need to reshare the screen here because that absolutely disappeared on me. So just give me 1 second. We're going to find it, and we're going to open it up. Get some ice water. How's everybody doing tonight, by the way? It's Wednesday. We're halfway through the joint practice in Minnesota. Busy 49ers week. They're not going to play until Saturday, but fun nonetheless, I think. I think that the joint practices are more intense than the actual game. But I got some stuff. I got some thoughts about the game on Saturday as well. All right, I have to open this up. Matt's article first, and then mine on the O-line. And I guess Matt and I co-wrote the one on the O-line. So here we go. Matt Barrows. Pop that sucker open, and then state of the 49ers offensive line. This is a piece that we wrote back in February that I bring up from time to time because I think it's important to bring up from time to time to give us the perspective that we need on what this 49ers offensive line has to do. And here's the thing. Anytime I put O-line in the title of one of these videos, it doesn't get as many clicks. It's not the sexiest topic. Everybody wants to hear about deep passes, and Nick Bosa, I guess, is popular. I mean, everything's popular except for O-line play, I feel. It's the one thing that doesn't really generate too much attention, but it's the one thing that can trip up the 49ers, that has tripped up the 49ers in the past. So here's Matt's article. I got the screen share working again. And then I want to open up state of the 49ers offensive line because this is what I want to talk about. So we wrote this back in February, and I made this graph. Blue is good, red is bad. You look at pass blocking efficiency is in this column. Run block grade is in the right column. You want more blue than red. If you look at run block grade, oh, by the way, the reason there's so many names is because the 49ers had so many injuries. So you see 3 players listed at left tackle, only 1 at left guard because Tomlinson was their most durable lineman. Mack was just as durable as Tomlinson at center. Brunskill was durable as well, but he's hurt now at right guard. And then they had 2 right tackles, McGlinchey for about half the season, and then Compton more than that after him because Compton played in the postseason. So you see all of the, performers who had more than 50 snaps on the 49ers offensive line last season. McKivitz, the least there was 74. Run blocking grade. Look at where the red is. McKivitz, okay, he was a fill-in. Moore, okay, he was a fill-in. Brunskill's light red, okay, but he was a starter. And interestingly enough, McGlinchey, who in years prior had been one of the best run blockers in football, he was a little bit worse, right? He was a little bit worse than average here. You had good grades, though, from Compton, from Tomlinson, Trent Williams, and Alex Mack, all in the blue. Pass blocking efficiency, where's the red at? McKivitz, okay, we get it. He's not very good. He's not a starting offensive lineman, although the 49ers may need him to improve and be one this year if McGlinchey doesn't get healthier. Jalen Moore, okay, he was a spot starter, 145 snaps there at left tackle, and the 49ers actually went to McKivitz instead later on. The Brunskill struggled, okay, well, we get it. The 49ers are trying to replace him as at right guard this offseason with Spencer Burford. And Compton, bad, and we knew this. Compton was bad at pass blocking, but really good at run blocking. So this was the 49ers last year. As you could tell out of the regulars, more red in that pass blocking efficiency, especially when you consider that Trent Williams was hurt with that high ankle sprain at the end of the year. It was a high ankle sprain against the Rams in the championship game, but he couldn't play at all in week 18. McKivitz had to play instead, and the 49ers fell behind 17-0. McKivitz was getting blown up on the left side. The moral of the story is that the 49ers needed more out of their pass protection down the stretch of the 2022 season or the 2021 season. They're going to need more moving here into 2022. This chart shows you where they need to get better. So now we can ask ourselves, where have the 49ers gotten better and where have they failed to do so? And where might they still be able to get better between now and week 1 and then between then and week 17? So we're going to go through it one by one. Left tackle, Trent Williams. Well, he's not getting any younger, but he's still all-pro Trent, right? 99 in Madden. So, I mean, if you're the 49ers, if Trent doesn't show up this year, you might as well pack it up. So we're not going to talk about Trent Williams. He's one of the best in the game. He has to stay healthy. Boom. Let's talk about the next topic. Left guard. Okay, well, here's something to talk about. The 49ers lost Laken Tomlinson to free agency. So left guard has to find a way to make up for production that, as you can see in this fourth row down, is blue across the board. Pass blocking efficiency and run block grade was both above average for Laken Tomlinson last year. So where is Aaron Banks going to be? Where exactly can we expect Aaron Banks to be, realistically speaking? Well, I think he had a good debut to the preseason. I think that he held up strong in pass protection. I think he helped other guys out in pass protection. I do think his body's been reworked. To me, he looked like a second-round pick, but it was only game 1 of the preseason, and he didn't see that much playing time. He's probably not going to play on Saturday. Who knows how Shanahan's going to play this, but probably not. We'll see him again on Thursday after that against the Houston Texans. All right, so that's Aaron Banks. He's another guy that's just like Trent Williams. If he doesn't show up in 2022, the 49ers aren't going anywhere. Aaron Banks has to show up in the way that the 49ers would expect a second-year, second-round pick to show up, period. Just like Trent Williams needs to show up as a big money player at left tackle, Aaron Banks needs to do his role at left guard. They are counting on him that much. They've lost Tomlinson. They let Tomlinson walk because they believed in Aaron Banks so much. The early returns are positive, I will say, but it's still a major position to watch because if Aaron Banks doesn't succeed, the 49ers will be in trouble. All right, so we've taken care of left tackle and left guard. Let's move on to center. Alex Mack, one of the greatest to ever strap it up for the center position. Alex Mack played for 14 years, right? Alex Mack was an all-pro. Alex Mack was a Shanahan offensive connoisseur. I mean, the guy played for Kyle in Cleveland, played for Kyle in Atlanta, and then played for Kyle in 2021 with the 49ers. And even at age 35, he had an excellent pass blocking efficiency grade and a good run blocking efficiency grade. He still knew what he was doing. And the important part about center, most of it is knowing what you're doing because you're directing those other guys around. You're looking at safety rotations. You're making sure that the front is sized up and that all those angles are correct in Shanahan's complex offense. So Mack has obviously retired. Just like left guard, the 49ers have a big, big player to replace. So what are they going to do? Well, it looks like Jake Brendel right now. How's Jake Brendel been? Just like Aaron Banks, he had a good debut. Didn't give up a pressure. They were happy with the way that he moved in the week 1 preseason opener against the Green Bay Packers. So all of that was swell. But there are some questions. One is Jake Brendel came into the league in 2016 and has started, I think, 1 or 2 games. He hasn't been a full-time starter. Started as a spot starter before. Been with the 49ers here for over a year and hasn't started until now. On the plus side, he was Trey Lance's quarterback, or Trey Lance's center for the quarterback-center exchange last year in practice, being the second-team guy, so there's chemistry there. And if you actually look back at Jake Brendel's testing back in the college days, coming out of UCLA, he's extremely quick. The guy's a plus athlete. So you think, okay, he should be able to handle what Kyle Shanahan needs to send to handle from an athletic perspective. Maybe even better than Alex Mack was at age 35 because Brendel is younger. But it's the pass protection that really worries me. And the 49ers haven't gotten to push meets shove mode yet. They haven't, been forced to face your Aaron Donalds and your Grady Jarretts and the guys that are a lot better than the Green Bay Packers second string and beyond. And that's when the strain is really going to be put onto the center position. And I think there was some strain put onto the center position at the joint practice between the 49ers and the Vikings. And that joint practice, I don't think ended up very good for the offensive line. It's a lot of sacks to give up, 4 sacks. And we've seen the pressure come even against the 49ers defensive line in practice. Am I saying it's Brendel's fault? No, because I haven't seen the actual tape. You'd have to be a coach to know that. So let's not pretend to know more that we do. then, but let's consider that the 49ers' best pass protection stretch under Kyle Shanahan came in the first half of the 2021 season when everybody was healthy and Alex Mack was the center. And I don't think that's an accident. Alex Mack was able to move the chess pieces around and was a coach on the field at that all-important center position. And he was so smart that he got the 49ers in the spot they needed to be. Can Jake Brendel do that? TBD. They think he's smart enough to do it. I've been impressed with him talking. I mean, it's one of those things that until live action starts, you're speculating, just like you are about Trey Lance. But Brendel has got a big job on his shoulders. And guess what? It's his job right now because Daniel Brunskill's out with a strained hamstring for about a month. So center, it's going to be hard to upgrade over Alex Mack. It's going to be hard to keep it afloat after Alex Mack. But the 49ers believe in Brendel so much that they, at least to this point, have decided not to go after an available free agent like J.C. Tretter. So we'll see if that in-house solution ends up working. All right, so now we move on to right guard. This is where it starts to get really interesting. Last year they had Brunskill, Daniel Brunskill, below average in pass blocking efficiency and run block grade. Now, you guys know I love me some Dan Brunskill. I've written so many pieces about how important he is to this 49ers team, how important he was in that 2019 season when he played essentially everywhere for the 49ers, tackle, guard, and then center the year after that in 2020 and played well. He was completing for the center job this year. But I don't think that Brunskill is a natural guard. I think the 49ers realized this too. And I think Shanahan finally said, we need to upgrade at that right guard spot because it wasn't performing well enough with Brunskill, the ex-college tight end, more of a perimeter or center, a perimeter guy or a center, just based on his body build. I think Shanahan said, enough. We need more at that guard position. So they went out and they drafted Spencer Burford. It's interesting because I remember sitting in this room the day that the 49ers drafted Spencer Burford, and I put on the tape and I said, I think this guy can start year one. But since he went down in the fourth round, I don't think a lot of people agreed with me. But I saw strength on the tape, and I saw maturity on the tape. I saw maturity in the way that Spencer Burford carried himself at UTSA. Fast forward a few months, Spencer Burford has been the exclusive 49ers first team right guard. Does that mean that they have successfully augmented the right guard position, which has a whole lot of red in this diagram? Brunskill in the red, which is not good across 1,259 snaps last year. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean that they've augmented anything. Spencer Burford's going to be a rookie, and you don't just roll out of bed and start delivering even at a lower league level as a rookie without a lot of work, especially as a fourth-round pick. I mean, this was not a slam dunk Quentin Nelson at the top of the draft. But I do think that Burford is stronger than people have given him credit for. I think that's already showed up on tape. And I think that the flaws that we saw in week one against the Packers are correctable. But there were flaws. And there are a lot of people that got a little bit too excited after they saw him drive one guy to the ground and said, oh, hey, they found their guy. This is it. It's far from it. Spencer struggled in pass protection against the Packers, gave up a handful of pressures, was better in run blocking. But I thought some of the protection issues were definitely correctable and that he showed fight even when he got beaten. And to me, that's what's important. It's how did he lose? Because you knew he's going to lose, right? He's a rookie starting his first NFL game. You knew that there's going to be snaps that didn't go well for him. But it's how does he take those snaps and how does he respond from them? Kyle Shanahan always says you don't know about an offensive lineman in the NFL until they get their ass kicked by the NFL. Well, 49ers hope that, at least in terms of pass protection, Spencer Burford sufficiently got his ass kicked against the Green Bay Packers in week one, giving up 4 or 5 pressures. That first drive when Trey had a flush out of the pocket, that was on Burford there up the middle when he had to run and slide. They're going to need more from Spencer Burford in pass protection because they're trying to upgrade the right guard spot. But one thing that I love about Spencer Burford is the mental makeup. Talked to him for the first time last week. I mean, he's so composed, so put together, and so clearly hungry that you just get the sense that, this guy's not going to be blasé or lackadaisical about it. If this guy needs to improve X amount by week 11, he's going to do it or he's going to die trying. And that kind of commitment is exactly what the 49ers need. And that's why they've seen 4th, 5th, 6th round picks succeed under this regime before, because they find the right person. They find the person's going to be willing to put in that time. Because think about it. Rounds 1 through 7, the talent disparity between guys is not going to be that big throughout the draft, especially once you move past the first day, especially into day 3. And if the talent disparity is not that big, then it's the heart disparity. It's the mental disparity, the cerebral attack of the game that's going to be important. And I think that Burford, has a grasp of that, which I think is really important. All right, on to right tackle, Mike McGlinchey. 97.1 pass blocking efficiency, the best of his career last year. And the run blocking efficiency grade was the worst of Mike's career. So what gives? Why was Mike better at what he was usually worse at before and worse at what he was usually better at? Well, remember that he came into the 2020 season underweight and he got stampeded on the bull rush. He came much heavier, 305 to 310, not under 290, into the 2021 season. And Chris Furster is on the record saying maybe that weight might have hurt McGlinchey's run game a little bit, but I think it helped his pass protection because he was an above average pass protector for the first time in his career. I think this is a trade-off the 49ers are willing to make. I don't think that you can get just sacked over, pun intended, over right tackle time and time again against the bull rush in this modern day passing NFL. Even if you run more often than you pass, you're going to have some semblance of pass protection to get the job done on the third and long situations whenever you get behind schedule, because that will inevitably happen. McGlinchey's at about, I think, probably somewhere between 305 and 311. He weighed in 311 a couple months ago, put it on Instagram. He's back up to weight, despite what you might hear. I know there's a rumor that he wasn't, but he's back up to weight. So the question is, how quickly is he going to get back up to form? Because just like the hinge point at left tackle with Williams, at left guard with Banks, and at center with Mack, McGlinchey's a hinge point too. Because if McGlinchey can't be healthy, if McGlinchey can't perform, if he's rusty out of the gate, you give the keys to McKivitz. And McKivitz is impressed, but McKivitz has always been McKivitz. McKivitz, even in the game that he stepped in week 18 for Trent Williams last year, he gave up 5 pressures. So it wasn't like a clean sheet. I think he might have made some strides with this training camp. He talked to the media the other day about that. So maybe get used to Colton McKivitz's name in case Mike McGlinchey keeps on having some health issues, some knee issues. But you would have to hold your breath at that point. So there's so many hinge points along this offensive line, and that to me is what makes it tricky for the 49ers. All right, no questions today. Tomorrow, though, tune into the start of practice. We're just going to be going through all practice, analyzing, playing some video, doing all that good stuff. So tomorrow, the show will be really fun. Just wanted to give you guys a quick one tonight, but I want to rest before I do anything else. Big day tomorrow. 49ers Vikings practice number 2. Everybody make sure you sub to The Athletic, sub to the channel, follow along on Twitter and Instagram, all these places. Thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the new setup today and the big ass TV behind me. Everybody take care. Have a good Wednesday night.